This story is real, and some parts of it may still be found online in various news write-ups. Of the supernatural side, I can't assure anything beyond what I personally experienced with my own body. I'll leave the conclusions and theories to your judgment, and to those listening, if this story gets published on your channel. Just before I started middle school, I got really good news. A school was going to be built in my neighborhood, on the outskirts of the city, so I wouldn't have to attend one of the ones already in the more urban area. The closest one to me was 2 public bus transfers away, 45 minutes. The best part of all was that Isabel, Juliana, and Margarita, my best friends, would be starting there with me in the new middle school. Isabel's family wasn't doing well financially, honestly. She confessed that without this school being built so close to us, she wouldn't have been able to study that year. Juliana's family, on the other hand, was pretty well off, almost too much for living in that neighborhood. They'd considered sending her to a private school if, in any case, she'd already have to make a daily trip to the city. But the school opened, we were still together. I truly wish it had never happened. We had a few months in that first year of middle school when Isabel started acting strange. She would leave early, disappear for moments, leave us waiting when we'd planned to do homework together, and invent excuses to stop going out with us. Even when, between all of us, we helped each other in situations like when we had to go somewhere we'd spend money. What was most unsettling was that it seemed like there was someone that might have been changing her. At first we assumed it was a boy. We thought we confirmed it too. During recess, in the distance, we could see the shape of a young man, more like an older man, watching us. Isabel, in fact, would exaggerate how much she tried not to pay attention. She even changed the subject when we mentioned how bizarre what she was doing was, because that person was always around 200 meters from the schoolyard. And the schoolyard, by the way, wasn't fenced. He watched us without moving. The distance was always far enough that we couldn't recognize his face. The school sat at the end of a street where there were still no houses or businesses. Behind it was a hill that led toward some mountains. People said there were ranches in that direction a few kilometers away, but the truth is that all you could see from the school was emptiness. Isabel never told us anything about it. Not a single word, despite it being obvious she knew something about him that we didn't. And it's hard for me to write the rest of the story. In December, Isabel disappeared. We said goodbye when we left school like nothing was wrong, and she never made it home. In the following days, Margarita, Juliana, and I filled our heads with thousands of theories. None of them convinced us fully. Isabel only cared about helping her family in one way or another. She wouldn't have abandoned them for any reason, and none of us wanted to mention the man we'd been seeing watching us. 5 days later, they found Isabel's body about 400 meters from the school, in the bottom of a ravine behind the hill. They killed her by crushing her head with a stone. Contrary to what was speculated at first, and even broadcast on the news at the time, she wasn't sexually assaulted. Someone killed her there, with no apparent reason, no motivation. Even though we were already on vacation by then, a memorial was held at the school, and we all went. We also collected money to help her family. When we delivered it, I remember her mother vividly. She told us about the dreams Isabel had been having for months. Dreams in which a man with a blurred face would take her away. In the dreams, Isabel stayed immobile, unable to speak, and couldn't ask for help. I don't know if those dreams, as she told her mother, were actually a reflection of what was happening to her in real life. I don't know if what she saw in her dreams later began to pursue her during the day. And I don't know what we saw, exactly, but after we heard this, Margarita started denying everything almost immediately. I don't know what you're talking about. We never saw anyone, she told us. It was our imagination, that's what she said. And then, out of nowhere, she stopped hanging out with us. By then it was only Juliana and me. trying to survive that grief in that stage of our lives, after losing our best friend in the most horrible way we could imagine. The rest of the year was difficult. The next year too. For a moment, for a while, we managed to forget it. Until that day. During a normal recess, Alejandro, a boy from our class who was always in love with Juliana, was talking with us. About 60 meters away, Margarita and her friends were there. Friends she'd started to join after she stopped being part of our small group. In the middle of laughter and nonsense, I felt a chill. I felt a look. I turned toward Margarita. She was pale and motioned her head toward the hill, like a warning. Look. There he was, watching us, close enough that I could feel that horrible gaze, but still far enough that, once again, we couldn't recognize his face. We were sure it was him. The same tall, slightly hunched silhouette. The same strange clothing. The same way of observing in the most unsettling way you can imagine. Behind him was exactly that path leading to the ravine where they'd found Isabel. I touched Juliana so she'd look. I felt like she almost faded, like she couldn't even stay in place. Alejandro held her steady. She got sick. We took her to the direction we had to, because we didn't have a nurse's office. Margarita ran after us. It was the same man. We had no doubts. Even if we didn't have certainty about who he was, or whether he truly had anything to do with what happened to Isabel, something about that sight terrified us, almost to the point of paralysis. What I felt in my chest that day when I saw him, I will never forget it. I hope I never feel it again. The next day, he was there again. And again there was no way to accuse him, no way to explain that somehow we knew he had something to do with our friend's death. On the third day, he returned for a moment. Juliana called her mom to pick her up, and she never came back to school. Even though we were halfway through the school year, she transferred to a private school in the city, and she never spoke to us again. After that, I ended up integrating into Margarita's group, but because of what we were living through, because of the fear we carried, almost every recess we'd end up separating. It was only the two of us again. In the last months, we stopped going to the yard during recess out of fear of seeing him again. And later, when I started high school, I preferred taking a longer route that made me lose 20 minutes rather than passing that street in front of the middle school. I was afraid of seeing that blurred-faced man in the distance. Margarita went to a different school. Little by little, our contact shrank to exchanging the occasional Facebook like and birthday greetings. But not long ago, already when I was in university, I started having dreams again. Dreams with Isabel and with the man's silhouette in the distance. An image that still terrified me, even as an adult. It ruined my days completely whenever I dreamed of him. Then one morning, at around 4 in the morning, I woke up to a messenger message. It was Margarita. In it, she included a link to a news story, probably many of you may have seen recently, about a girl who died only a few hours earlier in a car accident. The girl is Juliana, the message said. I didn't ask how she knew, because the article didn't mention any name. But in the morning, I checked. It wasn't alcohol involved, the report said. Only that a girl apparently lost control of her vehicle and crashed head-on into a containment wall at high speed. In that Facebook post, some idiot, some curious person who went to the accident site and took a photo, I don't know why, but then posted it in the comments, published a picture of Juliana, her body. When I saw it, I removed it before I could recognize anything beyond a completely destroyed body. I assumed the person was reported quickly and blocked so they couldn't keep reposting it, because I stopped running into that horrible image. I'm afraid to ask how Margarita found out. I'm afraid to ask her if she's been dreaming about this man too, or if she's seen him again. I know it might have been an accident, and I want to believe that, but I have an irrational fear. I know it's irrational, I know it's unfounded, but the thought that that man, whatever he was, might be connected to what happened won't let me live. I realize it may sound ridiculous. I know many will say it has nothing to do with the group or with the theme of this channel. But thank you for letting me say it. It helps me a lot, especially every time I dream of that figure, watching me nearby but still far enough away that I can't recognize his face.